What's up, Richard Timbers here. With the new documentary out now called Being Eddie, which is of course about Eddie Murphy, I decided to go ahead and do my top 10 favorite Eddie Murphy films because he is like a comedy legend. One of the best in the business. So here is my official top 10. Obviously he came off from SNL. He's done lots of comedies over the years. He's a Oscar-nominated actor. I mean, who doesn't love the Murphy Man, right? All right. Coming in at number 10 is the one that got him an Oscar nomination, and that is Dreamgirls. Now, of course, Dreamgirls was more of a serious role for him, obviously, but he definitely did play the part very well here. He actually won a Golden Globe, but got nominated for an Oscar here. It is, of course, inspired by Motown and the Supremes, and follows a trio of female singers as they navigate fame, betrayal, and ambitious. Um, And of course, Murphy plays the character of James Thunder Early, a soul singer whose career fades into the music industry and on. And he really put up a really decent tune here. Plays the part well. Other great cast lists you've got, obviously Jamie Foxx, Beyonce, Jennifer Hudson, who of course won the Oscar. I mean, Dreamgirls just a wonderful film here, and really showcase how good he could do in some serious roles. All right. Number 9 is Tower Heist. Now, Tower Heist, was directed by Brett Ratner and starred Eddie Murphy as well as Ben Stiller. You also had like Alan Alda, Casey Affleck, Taya Leone, uh, Matthew Broderick. I love Tower Heist. It's about like these workers at a luxury apartment complex lose their pensions to a Ponzi scheme, and they decide to rob the tower here. And obviously, you got Eddie Murphy, who plays a slick thief who is recruited by a group of the working class here. And this was like, I guess, say Eddie Murphy's like comedy comeback, really, because at the time he was always known for like doing more family fairs through the early 2000s and some decent stuff and some not so decent stuff like Pluto Nash. But Tower Heist is one of the funniest comedies that Eddie Murphy's done in the past 10 years. It is hilarious. Eddie Murphy's back and forth chemistry with Ben Still is great. I mean, it's such a really hilarious one, to say the least. And if you guys ever seen Tower Heist, highly recommend that one. All right. Coming in at number 8 is Daddy Daycare. Now, Daddy Daycare, of course, stars Eddie Murphy as Charlie Hinton, who's a advertising executive who, after losing his job, opens up a daycare center with his best friend, played by Jeff Garlin. And this was, of course, interesting to see like Eddie Murphy do more like family fairs, and Eddie Murphy and Jeff Garlin both play off each other very well here. Steve Zahn is great. See him having to deal with these kids was hilarious. I mean, yeah, Daddy Daycare is just a really cool one, and they also had Daddy Day Kent with Cuba Gooding. We don't talk about that one, but yeah. All right. Coming in at number 7 is of course Doctor Dolittle. Now, obviously, you got Eddie Murphy as Doctor John Dolittle, who is a respected physician who rediscovers his childhood ability to talk to animals here. And of course, you do got some really cool animal like voices like Chris Rock as the voice of you know as the voice of a hamster. You got Albert Brooks here. I mean, Doctor Dolittle definitely has some fun aspects to it, hilarious at times. Doctor Dolittle Choose probably just has fun as well. So yeah, I mean, who doesn't love those Doctor Dolittle movies? I mean, Doctor Dolittle is definitely one of the few remakes I feel like that is better than the original, in my opinion. So all right, coming in at number 6 is 48 Hours. Of course, pretty much Eddie Murphy's like acting debut, really, because this came out around the heels when he did SNL, like had his SNL break and all. And here you got Eddie Murphy who teams up with Nick Nolte, who of course they play detectives who team up here to like hunt down a pair of violent criminals and all. And the chemistry with Eddie Murphy and Nick Nolte is just terrific. Love seeing those two pair off with each other. It definitely has some fun action to it. You got Walter Hill, who gave us the Warriors. He did a good job with this one. I mean, 48 Hours is a really fun one, and also a really fun 80s, buddy cop movie that I feel like is one of the earliest buddy cop movies that really brought the buddy cop genre to its whole thanks to and stuff. And yeah, 48 Hours is a really cool one there. All right, number five is The Nutty Professor. Another remake that I find should be better than the original. Like the original Jerry Lewis one is cool and all, but the remake with Eddie Murphy as Professor Clumps is awesome. I mean, I always love the comedy club scene, with Dave Chappelle. That always cracks me up every time. And of course, you got Eddie Murphy who plays Professor Clumps. Uh, who obviously is a shy professor who tests his experiment weight loss formula, before Ozempic came into the picture. And he of course becomes slim, and he becomes a savvy buddy love. And yeah, Eddie Murphy, like, obviously playing a couple of multiple characters in this was really fun. He plays his own parents in this one. Uh, I also always like the dinner scene. Hercules, Hercules, like who doesn't love the Nutty Professor? I mean, the Nutty Professor 2 with Janet Jackson, yeah, what that was so good. But that first Nutty Professor holds a place in my heart. I always get a kick out of it every time I rewatch it, and yeah, the Nutty Professor is always awesome. All right, coming in at number four is Trading Places. Of course, directed by John Landis, starring Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd, and this is of course about Billy Ray Valentine, uh, played by Eddie Murphy, who's a quick-witted street hustler who becomes like part of a social experiment that swaps his life with that of a wealthy banker, played by Dan Aykroyd. And it seemed like those two like swap back and forth. This was pretty much like good fortune of the '80s, really. And of course, you got John Landis, who did a good job with this one. Jamie Lee Curtis was great. Definitely a really hilarious one, like an '80s comedy classic that is well worth watching. There. Number three, maybe one of his most iconic roles to date. Number three is Shrek. Shrek, of course, stars Eddie Murphy as the donkey. You got Mike Myers as the title character. Donkey is one of his best characters there is. A really fun animal sidekick. You know, loads of fun funny lines. Tonight I'm making waffles. I mean, come on. And the buddy chemistry with Shrek and Donkey is great. Obviously, Eddie Murphy will go on to reprise his role again in the other Shrek movies. Obviously, he is coming back for Shrek 5. And top it off, there is the Donkey movie coming as well. So, there's that here too. But, yeah, Shrek is just a really, definitely one of the funniest, like one of the funniest animated movies, one of the top tier animated movies, in my opinion. It's just such a really good one. And to be honest, I always wish they did a Donkey movie over Puss in Boots, which, hey, I like the Puss in Boots movies, but seriously, Donkey is one of the best characters there is. Alright, number two is Coming to America. Now, of course, you got Eddie Murphy, who plays Prince Hakeem Jaffer, who's the noble heir to the wealthy African kingdom of Zamunda, who disguises himself as a poor man in Queens, New York, to find true love here. And of course, directed by the aforementioned John Landis. Eddie Murphy playing multiple characters was pretty hilarious. I mean, Eddie Murphy definitely has some fun, some fun humor to it. You also do got other additions, like you got John Amos, Arsenio Hall, James Earl Jones, Sherry Headley. Like, yeah, Coming to America is just such a classic. And of course, they did do a sequel, which is not as bad as most people make it out to be, but that's just me. And his best work is number one is Beverly Hills Cop. Of course, directed by Martin Brest, starring Eddie Murphy as the role of Axel Foley, who of course Axel Foley's investigation takes him to the worlds of Beverly Hills here, and Eddie Murphy of course played like one of the funniest cop movies of the '80s. Just one of Eddie Murphy's most iconic characters to date. He just plays the part very well. His chemistry with Judge Reinhold is always great. Just one of the funniest comedies in general. I believe he was actually still on SNL at the time, and this was actually really, I guess, you say the movie. Obviously, his first movie was 48 Hours, but it was really Beverly Hills Cop that really put him on the map. Very similar how like The Mask put Jim Carrey on the map and stuff. Beverly Hills Cop was the same with Eddie Murphy, and it's just such a hilarious one, and it's just a classic there. But that's pretty much it. Here is my quick rundown. Number 10, Dreamgirls. 9, Tower Heist. 8, Daddy Daycare. 7, Doctor Dolittle. 6, 48 Hours. 5, The Night Professor. 4, Trading Places. 3, Shrek. 2, Coming to America. And number 1 is Beverly Hills Cop. Now, there's a few other ones I could have added. I'm actually a defender of the Haunted Mansion movie that he did in 2003. I quite enjoy Haunted Mansion a little more than most people did. Norbit was okay, I guess. His most recent one, Dolomite is My Name, was pretty good. Mr. Church is a really underrated little film, if you guys haven't seen that. You People that he did with Jonah Hill. Obviously, the other Beverly Hills Cop movies, most recent Axel F. The Pickup was actually pretty terrible, to be honest, yeah. Definitely not Meet Dave. Definitely not Imagine That. Uh, I Spy was okay. That had its moments. Definitely not Pluto Nash. Like even Eddie Murphy will tell you that Pluto Nash is the worst. Let's see. Showtime with Robert De Niro. Funny little comedy actually. Bowfinger with Steve Martin. Life with Martin Lawrence. Definitely not Holy Man. That movie was. I mean, Holy Man. By the way, if you guys don't know, Eddie Murphy was originally going to play the Chris Tucker character in Rush Hour. But there's a reason why he dropped out of that because he was doing Holy Man at the time. Yeah, can you imagine a different movie if it was Eddie Murphy, in Rush Hour instead of Chris Tucker? How cool would that would have been? But anyway, Mulan's obviously. I mean, I would have easily gone with either Mulan or Shrek, but really Shrek is the better one. Vampire in Brooklyn is pretty fun. Boomerang, Harlem Nights. I mean, Eddie Murphy Raw, The Golden Child, like. Yeah, who doesn't love the Murphy Man? I want you just see about doing like maybe a TV show when he says like I know he did SNL and stuff, but it would be cool to see him actually try his hand at I don't know at like a scripted television show one of these days. But that could have happened with that Beverly Hills Cop TV show that CBS had coming. But yeah, I think that his last actual TV show was the PJs. Who remembers the PJs, right? Anyway, let me ask you guys. What are some of your favorite Eddie Murphy movies? Drop comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell for notification. This is Timmy Sign.